Hey you guys, welcome back to the YTP Mini. I'm Jess.
I'm BJ.
And we're here with a question from our community, which is perfectly timed, so we're going to jump right into it. How about tips for enjoying the company of those we don't feel particularly aligned with? This will be handy as the holiday season continues, as I'm becoming more aware. I'm stumped by how to turn around my negative feelings towards some. Sending love is hard when the brain is flooded with negative emotions. How can we chip away at this?
So how?
Okay, so
You go first.
The first brutal, beautiful, loving truth is that what we see in other people as unacceptable is actually what we feel about ourselves that is unacceptable. So you could say that those people are a mirror for what is unhealed within us. Now, there's a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of life experiences that also mirror the joy in our life and the peace that is within us. For example, when we watch the sunset. Oh, I feel so peaceful. That sunset made me feel so peaceful. No. The sunset did not make you feel peaceful. The sunset showed you that there was peace already inside. So the person that charges you up, frustrates you, makes you angry, they are not creating, that interaction with that person is not creating anger. It's not creating frustration. It's showing you that there's frustration and anger already inside. Knowing that now I'm going to turn it back on me. And this is what we talk about when we say, like, get the mirror out and look really closely at it, because the world outside of you is reflecting what's going on inside of you. So that's a really good way of looking at what's happening in your inner house and what needs to be cleaned up in your inner house by looking at the world around you, looking at the people who are in your circle and how they make you feel. Because the feeling is the most important thing. And the reason I say that is because family, a lot of times, those people are not going to fall away from your life, right? Like, they're going to be there at holidays. But what happens as we continue to attune ourselves to higher frequencies through the true mental training, which changes you on a cellular level, we'll notice that perhaps those people haven't changed at all, but you don't get charged up anymore. And that's when we know that those things have been healed within us. And I am a living proof of this. I remember Philip, our teacher, saying, like, when you walk this path, that every relationship in your life will get better. And the only person that's changed is you. And I saw that so quickly. And then the other thing is that as you continue to do this a little bit every day over a long period of time, you get stronger. And stronger means that you're awake to the fact that that person is just showing you what's unhealed within you. And you're attending to that through present moment awareness, through using your breath, through walking out of the room, taking a child's pose, and having this unshakable agreement with yourself that you are not going to move from anything but calm. Because if you're in a negative emotion and you're sending this person love, it doesn't matter, because it's all about how you feel. So you're actually sending that person negative emotions. You're not sending them love. So that's why it's an inside job, always has, always will be. It's about us, you, me, cleaning up our inner house.
Yeah, I want to think about it as Uncle Jim. You see him at Thanksgiving, right? Uncle Jim. Who's to say he's not thinking like, oh my God, here comes Sally again. She's going to talk. She's going to reply to my comment, and it's going to be, I can't believe this comes out of her mouth. So who's to say he wants to hear what you're saying?
Right. I love that turnaround too.
The turnaround, like,
don't assume that our judgments on other people are welcomed by that person.
Right. They're like, I just want to stress my opinion, and they're not agreeing. And you're on your side, you're saying like, I just want him to understand what I'm trying to say. And it goes back and forth, which leads me to having compassion for where they are in their process. And that's how I like to look at these family situations.
But compassion is even like, compassion is a high frequency. So at first, did you have compassion? Because at first, I just had total intolerance.
No, at first, absolutely not.
At first, like when I first lifted up the blinds and I was like, oh shit, everybody in my life is reflecting me and they're not assholes. I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole. And then their behavior got even more intolerable. Why? Because now I realize I'm an asshole. And that sucks to realize you're an asshole. And I didn't know what to do with that assholeness. So I started meditating. And it got a little louder and louder. And it was like more intolerable. And I had to pull myself away from a lot of people and go more into solitude. But then over time, as I attuned myself through years and days and hours, this is why it's so important not to skip a meditation, that now I can hold space and be in that compassion. And I think that you were probably closer to compassion than I was. Like you just come from a very compassionate, loving family. And I come from a very loving family, but also and I feel like I was raised to be very entitled. And, I deserve this and hard work is the only way. And, my family, your family, and I'm better than you. Those kinds of things. So compassion was, I had to look it up in the dictionary. I didn't know what the hell it meant.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. It's a strong word, but it's also a strong feeling. And how I work through this experience is I look at, are they doing the best they can with the information they have? Because I've done that for myself. So yes, I've had judgments. I'm not perfect. Yes, my family may be more compassionate at times than your family was growing up. But that's just perspective, right? That's just perspective. And
it's also the unreliable memory.
Right. We like to glorify things.
The memory gets confused, gets like merged in with imagination. Right. And our
or
memories are not that reliable.
Something you saw in a movie, replay the movie over and over again. It gets better and better. Of course, it's going to tend and trend to what you crave and enjoy more. But if you can look at your family, when you're having these conversations and I like to give them space. I like to give them the allowance that this is where they are right now in their journey. And I think plant-based nutrition is such a good example of this because we're all like, how can they not eat plants? Like all this evidence. It doesn't matter. Right? They're on their path. This is the information they have, and this is how they're making decisions. And we can go and scream from the mountaintops all we want.
Or I can go back and remember when I used to have 11 pieces of bacon every morning.
And I had, 10 egg whites a day.
And I was there too.
Right.
I was there too. I was in that cognitive dissonance. I was in that place of, not wanting to harm animals, but I was a part of, one of the most horrific and I use this word not lightly, like Holocaust situations of our time. And that's essentially what factory farming is. And so now I can look at it. Well, I feel like I always was very clear on that one. But yeah, there were other things that took longer. Oh, that person's so angry. Well, I was super angry. That took a long time. And, when I first started meditating, all I could do was scream sometimes because I had so much anger inside, which is so weird because if you looked at my life, there was nobody would ever say, oh, yes, you should have been angry because there was nothing about my life that added up to me being angry except for the self-suffering that I created. So that was so I think step one is awareness.
Yeah, once you notice,
step one is awareness.
Be present in those conversations that are the very thing that you're asking about in this question. When the holidays come, let's just say Christmas, and you're having that conversation with Uncle Jim, be there for that conversation. Notice that stuff that stirs up inside that wants to scream or get angry, and just notice it. That's the first step. So noticing, awareness.
So noticing. Second step is I made an agreement with myself a long time ago. This really resonated with me. Maybe it will resonate with some of you. I don't know. Is that I only move from calmness. I only move from calm. So a lot of times that meant me walking out of the room in the middle of making dinner, walking out of the room in the middle of a conversation, walking out of the room at a time that was socially unacceptable to do. But I was like so vested in finding a new way to live that I did those things. And I would get into child's pose and I would breathe. Sometimes I would cry. Sometimes I would go into the mirror and be like, oh my God, like, how am I going to do this? But I would wait until I was calm again, and then I would walk back into the room. Another technique is we love the peace and harmony technique. Explain that technique.
So I use this actually a lot. For me, I see, when I bike roads a lot and I see dead animals on the side of the road, I have this feeling inside. So I quickly shift to peace and harmony, and I'll say peace and harmony, sending it 5 times. I'll say it 5 times, sending it to that soul, and then 3 times to myself. And I do that until the feeling sort of starts to, so keep doing it. 5 to them, 3 to you. So peace and harmony, peace and harmony, peace and harmony, peace and harmony, peace and harmony. All those 5 are focused towards whatever that situation is. And then 3 peace and harmony is back to yourself.
Right. And, it's this awareness of how you feel is key, because the feeling is the creation. So the feeling is, if you're moving from anger, you're creating from anger, you're creating more reasons in your life to feel angry. So at first, sending love is hard when the brain is flooded with negative emotions. Yes, at first, that's going to be hard. So the peace and harmony in the face of anger over and over and over again until you are calm, because that peace and harmony is going to win every single time as long as you are not indulging the thoughts about the anger. When you're doing the peace and harmony, it's 100% of your awareness on peace and harmony. And what does peace and harmony feel like in your life? Can you start to shift emotionally, energetically into what does peace and harmony feel like? Now, this takes an incredible amount of will. It really takes an incredible amount of will. But eventually, the peace and harmony is going to win out and you will get calm again. If you indulge the anger and the person who's driving you crazy is talking to you and the whole time you're just like, I cannot stand you. What am I doing here? Oh my God, every year it's the same thing. Well, you're just doing the peace and harmony, but you're doing it in the anger and hate, anger and hate, anger and hate, anger and hate. So you're expanding the anger and hate. But if you shift, and you start to focus on the higher frequencies, those higher frequencies are going to win every time. They're going to win every time as long as you're not indulging the anger. So at first it's mucky. At first you got to find your way. And at first you got to use an incredible amount of will. But eventually it becomes your cellular makeup. And then the compassion flows. And you become what my teacher calls spiritually generous, where you can walk into the lion's den of a holiday and you're just there like, I'm going to hold space. I am probably going to have an energy hangover, right? Because your environment is stronger than your will. So those energies, if they have not healed those energies are going to pass through that environment. It might pass through your body. You could have a little bit of an energy hangover, but you're not creating more of it. You're not moving in the direction of where you used to be and what you used to live from. You're able to be spiritually generous, where you're holding space in a compassionate way for those who are suffering. And if right now those who are suffering are making you angry, you too are suffering.
And that peace and harmony is said quietly. It's not like you're talking to the person.
Right.
That's a clarification. So you're saying this in your mind, peace and harmony, peace. You're not actually vocalizing it to that person.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look at you and be like, what? Okay, go have another glass of wine.
Right. Yeah. So you're thinking it. And actually, anything that is expressed out of you is actually weakened. So when you think it to yourself, you're actually driving it into the subconscious mind deeper, quicker. So as Uncle Jim is just charging you up like crazy and, chomping on about a subject matter that you guys do not see eye to eye on, and you feel the heat and the fire of the charge in your head, you're choosing peace and harmony. Peace and harmony. Peace 5 times to them, 3 times to you. And share with people the 3 things that you can do, because here's the other option, the 3 things that you can do when you're in a situation that doesn't feel aligned.
So you can engage in the conversation.
So you can like take Uncle Jim
Let
to
it
the
rip.
mat.
Yep. Have that wrestle match, and somebody's going to come out last man standing.
And perpetuate the dis-ease and suffering in life.
Right.
Okay, so that's option 1. What's option 2?
You can ignore it. You can choose to ignore it and just let it come in, and you remain steadfast. Let it pass through. Or you can walk away. So you can engage, you can endure, waiting for it to end, or you can simply just turn around and just walk out of the room. It's a choice. And that may be the toughest choice because of the interpretation that other person will have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And what those people, what is it?
It's none of your business.
Yeah. Like that was such a piece of freedom to me. I was talking to my yoga teacher, Philip, and I was saying, oh, well, this person is going to think this about me. And he said, what the hell are you talking about? He said, none of that is your business. Stay out of it. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, what people think of you, it's not your business, Jess. Stay out of it. That was like a ticket to the highway of freedom for me, and just allowed me to drop a whole level of dramatic bullshit that I didn't need in my life anymore. So that was awesome. Okay, hopefully that helped. We've got other techniques and things like that, but I want to just leave you with that peace and harmony. You can engage, you can endure, or you can get the heck out of there because your environment is stronger than your will. But this is the time of year to keep that heart open and realize that everything in this world is reflecting you. So if there's something that's unacceptable, turn the mirror around and go in. And really, it's about releasing it and letting go and attuning to its opposite.